left to die, rediscovered, for it to rise. The network finds a jam to forge anew, to shine again. Once a dragon rose, as the slayer froze, all the tangents close. Once the dragon slows, as the slayer pose, tangents reforged in prose. Disgusting, tangent kings, a new age. A story sing disgusting, glows and grows. Tangent kings reforged in soul. Disgusting, tangent kings, a new age. A story sing disgusting, glows and grows. Tangent kings reforged in souls. Discussion does now mow. Things do now grow. Tangents now soar. Disgusting, tangent kings, a new age. A story sing disgusting, glows and grows. Tangent kings reforged in soul. Disgusting, tangent kings, a new age. A story sing disgusting, glows and grows. Tangent kings reforged in souls. Yeah, reforged in souls.
Woo! We did it! We did it. Fuck it, yes, I
Everything
love
worked.
that intro.
Nothing crashed.
Everything. Yes. For now. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Let's start this absolute amazing week. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tangent Kings. My name is Hazel. This is Discussing. And tonight, or this morning, we are going to be talking about a lot of stuff. Because we have a lot of developing situation. There's never a dull moment, especially after the summer ends. It seems like every crazy thing that's wanted to happen took time out of its retirement or whatever and decided to fucking go and be absolutely crazy. Hello, doggy. I am joined. Hello, first of all, to the amazing panel, and without any further ado, I am going to present them to you, and they're going to present themselves to you as well. First of all, welcome to the co-host, to the one, the cartoony, the dignified cartoon gentleman. Hello, good sir.
Hello, everyone. I wish I were black, female, trans, lesbian, because that's the only way you can succeed nowadays. But it is great to be here. Hopefully, you can all hear me. Hopefully, you can hear everyone. In fact, I'm the dignified cartoon gentleman. I explore why things go wrong in pop culture, entertainment, and the wider gaming sphere. Last time I checked, I was a subscriber away from 180. I don't know where we're at now. I should have released another video before today's show, but I was lying down because my back is killing me. But it's great to be here. Hopefully, we'll have a fantastic show. And the overarching theme of today's episode, folks, is how poisonous content creation is. And, you know, you're going to see the best of what we do and the worst of what we do when covering today's topics, because all three of today's topics are very meaty topics on the surface level and deep down as well. So what about you, Jose? How have you been?
I've been hanging in there, just having a great time doing what I do the best way I can. It's survive. Basically, got my hair cut, so I don't have to look like Marge Simpson anymore, at least for now. Also been having a good time. And your mentor has been helping us cut some clips with Cancel's podcast over on the Rumble side of things. So check that out. Make sure to check out RRA1999 over on Rumble. You can catch Cancel's podcast a la carte. This way, if you can't watch a 2-hour show, because I know some people don't have the attention span, you watch some 8-minute clips and you can get sort of a feel for some of the topics we discuss over there. We're too crude for YouTube, too raunchy for Rumble. And I'm just sort of enjoying the day. Of course, it is Monday, so I'm enjoying a Monday as much as you can enjoy a Monday.
That's
Indeed.
good. But it's a good way to enjoy it here, I think.
Yes,
To
definitely.
enjoy it on this panel. That's good. That's good to have this.
I'm telling you this, folks. My mentor has been doing so well on Rumble making those clips. He has gained a grand total of -1 followers.
That was Chris Pavlovsky.
Yeah.
He was like, "No, you're hanging out with this guy. Unfollowed."
How the fuck, after 6 weeks of doing fuck all, can you gain like 12 followers, 12, 13 followers, right?
Yeah.
Or it might have been more than that. And then within the first week of reality-based cancel this podcast, you lose a follower. Just because my mentor put beware of Indians on
Well,
a
that's it.
thumbnail.
There's a lot of Indians on Rumble with throwaway accounts trying to skirt the system, figure out a way to monetize their accounts, get into the creator program, and grab the bag. And they will steal other people's content and post it as their own.
Then they should rename Rumble to Jungle. And speaking of Jungle,
It's Diwali, by the way. Just saying.
oh God, no. Speaking of Jungle, Roger, how have you been?
I've been doing fine on my end, just paying attention to all the crazy stuff that's been going on over the weekend. That'll basically be covered in the topics that we'll be discussing today. But basically like what you said, the whole content creator sphere, there's something in the waters where stuff is going to start changing here before too long, for the better or for the worse. That's up to debate on how all that's going to play out.
Well, I'm further away from my microphone, which makes it sound like I'm speaking louder so you can all hear me, folks, because I'm laying back. But congratulations to Roger getting the ire of a certain well-known furry in the pop culture and comic scene. Congratulations for that. I'm amazed he didn't call you fat, but he probably doesn't know that much about you. So, congratulations for that, Roger. We appreciate everyone for being here. Great to see Equilibrium, Yasto, Finch King, Roadkill. Who else is in here? Heroda. Furious Dan's not here. He's too busy fixing trucks or building brakes for buildings, one of those. We appreciate everyone's support. If you haven't already, like the stream, share the stream. Donations are always welcome. Finch King, you want to know who my mentor is? I can't answer that for legal reasons. Just like I cannot question when APAC makes an ad. It's like, why are you making an advert? Damn. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, oh dear, I gotta get my paper and my pen. I'll be turning into Stephen Hawking before long. All you'll hear is a synthesized box. But the first topic, which I'll
That's
write
going to
down,
be inclusive.
10 minutes and 10 seconds. The first topic is Emiru gets assaulted as TwitchCon fails, as Assaulter gets slight punishment, and Protector gets total punishment. Now, this, folks, I've always hated Twitch. I've always hated Twitch as a platform, right? Why? Because the hardest way to grow as a creator is as a live streamer, okay? And Twitch is purpose-built for live streaming, something which can only really be sustainable when you have a core audience. There is nothing worse than seeing a creator live streaming on his own or on her own, although that's far rarer, playing a game, streaming to no one. I'm like, I feel so sorry for you, man. because I would never do that. My mentor would never do that because there's no point streaming to no one.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, as sad as that sounds, and I'll make this clear right here, right now, I'm not a fan of meetups. I'm not a fan of content houses. I'm not a fan of institutionalizing what we do. And so the whole idea of TwitchCon to me is mental. Even when it was good, when it first started years ago, Jay Viper was at the very first TwitchCon, folks, when it started, and I regard him as a very well-respected, well-established creator. Even under those circumstances, I am not for rather. I am not for these bloody meetups. Okay, I was supposed to say I am against, not I am not against. You know, blooper, ladies and gentlemen, blooper. Get other people's perspective because I'm not used to laying back while speaking. Go ahead, Hellbound.
First of all, before I continue, I just want to say something really, really important. I think no matter what the personal and the branching perspectives of the whole situations are, I think we can all agree something like this should not have been allowed to happen. Not only, like, first of all, it shouldn't be allowed to happen to the visitors there, to the people who are just going there as an audience, much less to someone who is kind of part of the reason that so many people are there in the first place and have bought tickets, and should be, no matter what you think, they should be more protected because they're part of the show. If you're a huge band, let's say, in a concert, you would expect that you have a little bit more privacy and security, and there wouldn't be allowed to have some psycho to come and be uninterrupted hugging you, and in this case trying to kiss you, and possibly because there were several seconds before anyone reacted, and I think we all know what can happen in just 2 or 3 seconds in these situations. So this shouldn't have happened. So you can think of it from a lot of perspectives, how it is something that is a culture of online like mentality, that they think that they're important and they think that they have a connection with the streamer. All of these things are true, but nothing should be like this, especially from the side of the organizers, who are Twitch in this case. TwitchCon has utterly failed, and this is not the first example. This is not the first time that they have failed to do something like this, but this time is just even bigger, and one of the reasons that it's bigger is because more critical eyes are pinned at Twitch due to our second topic, which we'll get to in a minute. But this thing is just showcasing exactly how bad.
Wow.
Bad. Oh, this is the other clip.
Well, that's the other clip, but I wanted to bring up something first because I really wanted to quantify this whole situation before actively sharing my screen. One thing I know for certain, folks, I need a new goddamn mouse. Because this.
I thought we were saying a new back.
Okay, so that's what you know for sure.
Okay, folks, while this is courtesy of a name that's difficult to pronounce, but while Emaru was assaulted at TwitchCon, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy almost killed another female content creator by slamming her head down. And yes, my signal is screaming at me, so we better play this before my system crashes.
Go for it.
Hey guys, I am not a trained professional. Don't try this at home.
Don't even try this at an event.
You know,
this is like a wrestling move.
Yeah, it is. It is wrestling. And you know,
welcome to TwitchCon.
Some hillbilly, okay, like some hillbilly, like old drunk at a party who's like not putting
with a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, with these women probably half his fucking age. Oh, sorry.
guys,
Yeah.
problematic John has really
100%.
let himself go.
Oh,
Okay, really has. But yeah,
Oh,
people
man.
were warning about this happening because Twitch's security is so lax, folks. It's
Well-
so lax. It's so down.
Well,
Well,
why is
shoot,
there
I mean, we've
always
had-
something happening every year at TwitchCon? Wasn't it last year or the year before? There was some woman, she was an adult film star, then she turned into a Twitch streamer, as they tend to do once they age out, and she was in some ball pit and she broke her spine. That's
Yeah.
also why Dan Clancy has no self-awareness when he's body slamming another girl here, by the way. Like, you already broke somebody else's spine like a year ago. Maybe cool it on the spine busters, all right?
Courtesy of another name that's unpronounceable.
Yeah.
So many women
Shenanigan.
saying they weren't going to be attending TwitchCon this year because they don't feel safe. And then this happens to Emiru on day
Check it out.
one. And
Mhm.
yeah,
One,
it's like,
2,
Mhm.
3,
Wow.
almost 3 full seconds of uninterruption. He like, and some people are actually saying that he actually pulled out something out of his sleeve.
Yeah, what if he
afterwards.
had a knife?
Yeah, that's what they're
Also,
saying.
let-
Because
also, let's pay
they saw him pull-
Let's pay attention to the fact that she was also next to another guy, and he just
Yep.
stood there
Well,
and didn't
it's
bother to do
difficult to say if he
anything.
was a guy. By the way, like I see a blue light on his head. Oh, that's his hair. Sorry.
I see a beard, and if he tries to claim that he's a woman, then he's a fucking retard.
True.
no, what people need to understand in this situation is that simps stand back and stand by. Okay.
Yep, this is true.
And Fitchkick is saying in chat, and that's something that I was going to say about the personal security. Now, the thing is about the personal security is that Emiru had her personal security up until 2 years ago,
Mhm.
where he prevented something like that actually doing his motherfucking job, and Twitch permabanned him because he was holding another person like detained. He didn't hurt him, he didn't break his bones, he didn't do anything. And
All he did was
guy
just
who
detain him
reacted-
until the police showed up.
Yep. And the guy who reacted in this clip was also part of her own security detail, even though it's not her preferred one. Twitch security did nothing. Not before, not during, not afterwards. That guy walked away unbothered. There are several clips of it. He unbothered. Allegedly, he got ID'd by the police later, but that's alleged. That we don't know if that happened because nothing has followed. You don't have anything.
This is the big problem, folks. Twitch has been so unaccountable for so many years that they can do, say, and get away with practically anything, and it only adds more poison to the landscape that is content creation, that is live streaming, that is shorts video making. And there's a lot of poison out there, folks. I don't think there is a platform without this problem. Okay, not on the big ones, not on the small ones. All of these platforms have a poisonous problem in that the only way they can make a name for themselves effectively is to do one of two things. One is to suck up to the establishment and climb the greasy pole that way, or two, turn their institution into a fucking clique where the only way you can rise through the ranks is to join that clique, to join that cult, in a sense. And with the bigger platforms, it's appealing to the establishment. For the smaller platforms, it's building that institutional clique. Okay, Twitch has an extra layer of protection because of Amazon. Amazon don't give a damn about all of Twitch's controversies because there is no such thing as bad publicity to them. And what we all need to realize, folks, as viewers and as content creators, that on average, not always, but on average, the more prominent the creator, the more skeletons are in their closet.
True.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Beast has literal skeletons in his closet.
Oh yeah,
he has dead soulless eyes. It irks me. It unnerves
Probably
me.
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. I will say that.
I want to say something about what Digny said. Like Twitch as a live streaming platform started exactly as the opposite of that dishonesty. By the way, the streaming services as a whole started to be able to see the person as they are, as he or she is. So because when you're streaming, you don't get edits, you don't get to edit your voice, you're muttering, you're stuttering, you're inadvertently saying words and stuff like that, or whatever is happening. You're there in front of a live audience, which was reserved to special TV shows before that, like when you're saying when you're in like a celebrity show or something like that. And now when you get normal people that, let's say, through what was that back then, Vine and stuff like that, suddenly trying to live stream, then you get to see them who are, and it was a bit of a more a way to connect with people, to make it a bit more personal, and it got spoiled really, really quick.
I miss when Twitch TV was just in TV and we just used it to watch pay-per-views without paying for them.
And that's the the underground nature of how that started was incredible. And the way it came to an end was that it got bought out. Now that's another potential option, folks.
Yeah.
It happened to YouTube many moons ago.
Mhm.
It happened to Twitch. That's how it's known as Twitch today. You
Mhm.
can be bought out, right? I've
Mhm.
made this clear. My mentors made this clear, that we're never going to sell out, because we're not a financially motivated group of people. We're not communists, folks. In fact, Helzo is based in a country that had a good dose of fucking communism. We are people who believe that anyone can do what we do, that it takes all sorts to be a content creator,
Absolutely.
and that you shouldn't be thrown under the bus for being problematic.
And remember, even Rumble is publicly traded on the stock market, which means that it can easily be bought out if enough people, pull their money together and want to buy Rumble. That could happen as well.
Well,
I got 350.
Yasto makes a point about Kick. Kick was poisonous from the start, not because of anything the platform did, but because of its poisonous foundations. In that their biggest investor, the biggest company that invested in Kick, has a consistent record of selling gambling to children. And they've distanced themselves quite a bit from that origin, folks. However, they're still the biggest investors.
Well, they've also pivoted to outrage streaming. It seems like every other week somebody on Kick has injured someone, destroyed somebody's car, ended somebody's
because they don't have that moderation.
Yeah,
they don't have that supposed moderation. You can
the Roger Jackson situation happened with him streaming all that incident on Kick, if I'm not mistaken. So
didn't that streamer in Korea who got arrested? Who was that?
Johnny Somali.
Didn't he stream on Kick because he could do what he did? And by what he did is get beat up left and right at the end.
Kick's niche has become nuisance streaming. And good luck to you if you're just trying to stream a video game over there or stream a podcast. I got a 7-day ban on Kick for saying that a certain country was an asshole country. All right, where a lot of scammers come from, and it's not India. It's the other one in Africa.
Nigeria.
Yes, there you go. I didn't want to say it just in case.
No, it's all right, Jose.
It was nice having this show while it's last.
It's all right.
I think we're saying that every episode.
We've already gone through this as a topic. Literally, the thing with YouTube is you only get deplatformed on YouTube is if you piss enough people off. If you have 3,000 subs and 5,000 people report you, fuckity bye, you're never coming back, right?
Yep.
But a lot of what they do is algorithmic. A lot of what they do relies on that riding the algorithmic wave, so to speak. So in some aspects, you can say things on YouTube that sometimes you can't get away with on other platforms, which is so mind-blowing when you think about it, because it's a piece of technology doing the moderation for the most part. Whereas with Rumble, because Rumble's another interesting example. We'll get to them more with the third topic. With Rumble, if you criticize their clique, if you criticize the institution, if you criticize their founder, you are fucked on that platform. And we have a case in point example of Jose and Alki John, who are literally going against the grain on Rumble and who are still managing to grow on Rumble. They're on multiple platforms, but they are still growing on Rumble. And that's the way to be, folks.
Well,
That's the way to go. We have to reject the institutionalization of content creation. We must reject meetup culture. We must reject these fucking con things and all that bollocks.
What I wanted to say about TwitchCon is the reason security didn't do anything is they're more worried about people wearing these hats than they were protecting women. And that's the thing. If you wear a red hat to TwitchCon, they'll probably kick you out. But if you grope a woman, we'll get rid of your security. And it's ridiculous. Like, you know what? Look, I'm all for like meeting people within reason. I'm not for having entire conventions where it's otherizing any, because your platform is supposed to be that all are welcome to use it. But their whole motivation is we're going to create a pecking order, and these people are the ones that we endorse. These are the ones that are going to get all of the monetization. They're going to get all the preferred treatment. They're going to be on the front page, and you're going to be dead last. And like Digny said, you'll be streaming to an audience of none. Want to play a video game, which is what the platform was intended for? Good luck.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, because my mentor, who I can't legally name on a YouTube show, folks, was of the mindset of let's try and grow things without riding an algorithmic wave. Let's work smarter, not harder. Let's have people bring people together rather than algorithms. And the landscape has changed a lot over the last few years. Far more now than a few years ago. It was very simple. A few years back, the balance between moderates and radicals was about the same. Today in 2025, the balance is, if you want to get anywhere, you be a moderate. It's as simple as that. Because the moment you be a radical in any way, shape, or form, you'll be isolated, condemned, and destroyed. People, and I'm not just talking about platforms here, I'm talking about people. I'm talking about the majority of creators. The majority of creators don't want dangerous people on their platform. Even if they like them, they don't want to platform dangerous people for their own interests above all else. I mean, in regards to BitChute, Finch King, it's simple. You're never radical enough on BitChute, right? You're never radical enough.
I can reference BitChute because we also do stream there. When I used to try to upload videos there, every comment, even if you are criticizing a certain country in the Middle East, is you're never criticizing them enough for BitChute.
Exactly.
You're not speaking enough about them. You need to talk more about them. Well, if I talk any more about them, I'm going to be so far up one of their asses that they're going to have to take a dump to remove my head from it.
And that's the thing about BitChute, guys. Right? BitChute makes Nick Fuentes look like Brylan Hollyhand. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay?
I have a friend, real life friend, who watches too much BitChute, and I have to constantly reiterate to him that BitChute is mentally insane, and if you watch too much BitChute, you too will become mentally insane, because these are where the crackheads of the internet hang out.
You are what you eat. You are what you watch at 2025.
Every platform has its flaws, folks. I mean, in regards to the whole situation with Twitch and Emeru, she didn't deserve that. Of course, every prominent creator, if you have the support of hundreds of thousands, you probably have the opposition, best case scenario, of a few thousand people. Okay? I know this, right? I'm absolutely sure that if you have over 100,000 subscribers, at least 1,000 people want to kill you. I am absolutely sure of that, because
because you're inevitably going to piss someone off.
Exactly.
And they're going to be obsessed with you. And that's actually, I want to comment on the two main things we're currently discussing. My channel, and I'm going to say this as clear as possible, I don't give a flying rat's fuck if you're dangerous, if you're risque, if you're anyone. If I like you, you're on. We're gonna be friends. We're gonna stream together. We're gonna do videos. I don't particularly. I care about my channel. I care about the success of my channel, but I don't care if I get booted out of YouTube. I'm gonna rebuild. I'm gonna become a VTuber. I'm gonna do anything. I have a set of skills, if you will, that I can evolve into YouTube content. I can even become a woodworker or something like that. I can be anonymous. I can be text to speech, whatever. I do not care, because to me, if you're a cool person, if we can talk, if we can agree to disagree, if we can discuss things, then you're here. And that's why you're here, all of you. I'm not saying you're all dangerous people or something like that, but even if you were like as Jace too controversial for you, I don't care. You're here. 8 episodes in, motherfuckers. We're still here. Nobody.
Guys, I'm
booted us
telling
out.
you. I'm telling you right here, right now, and I know Jose is going to disagree, and I know Alki John's going to disagree, right? But cancel this podcast would do well on YouTube. I'm not saying it would last.
You will.
I'm saying it would do well on YouTube as a concept. But just thinking about this, of all the platforms, with all their pluses and all their minuses, I think the best platform that doesn't get nearly as much support as it should is Odyssey.
Yeah.
Because this is a platform that has great public relations. I don't know of any creator who is hostile to Odyssey. They are criminally underrated. They're not well known. So and they don't involve themselves too much in the discourse, like, say, for example, Rumble does or Kick does. They prefer to stay out of the limelight, and they do have a system in place, although I think it's in the process of changing at the moment, where you get this cryptocurrency in exchange for views and stuff, and you can cash that in. But you need a lot of them to cash it in, folks, just to let you all know before you jump on the Odyssey train.
Yeah, they've gotten rid of that. They're in the process of getting rid of that kind of.
Okay. But it just goes to show, though, folks, that often the best platforms are the ones you don't know about.
No.
Remember Vine? Remember how popular Vine was, and then it got wiped out? Because despite how popular it was, despite how many people adored the platform, it wasn't making enough.
Yep. And now you have.
And now we have I was about to say, now we have TikTok to replace it.
I want to say something, like the last thing about the whole Twitch situation.
Sure.
None of this would have happened, and I'm not saying that you don't have cycles enough in this world, about you have a lot of them, but if you have a proper education at home, you would not have this unstable parasocial development of a situation that you would need to do what that idiot did. I mean, if you were mentored, if you were raised in a proper environment, or at least raised to have the mental capacity to make critical decisions and to evolve your mindset on your own, as people before the internet were, because I think I'm one of the last generations of people that actually could critically think on their own and not get absolutely foaming at the mouth at every little inconvenience that happened in their life, because that's what the young generations are generally on. And apologies to anyone who feels offended, but sorry, 95% of the people between 80 and 24 currently, if you say something that they don't disagree with, they're gonna charge you. And that's not just from leftists or right specific. I've seen this. I have 15-year-olds stabbing people in malls and shopping centers right as we speak.
I mean, there are so many crises going on. It's absolutely insane. And it's thank you for Slay Every Game for rating today's show. We appreciate that.
Thank you for
and we also appreciate everyone currently watching, because there are so many crises going on. I play this game, right? It's a political game called Democracy 4. It's more like a click and like a political simulation game. All the boring stuff about facts and figures and making sure everything's in the black and not in the red. But there are so many red crisis events going on now, whether it's social media addiction, whether it's pollution, whether it's obesity, whether it's an uncompetitive economy, a corporate exodus, depending on where you are. There are so many problems going on.
And all of
that
them are connected.
A lot of them are connected. That combined with a high budget deficit. There's only one way we're going, folks, if we stay on this trajectory, and that is down. And from a technical standpoint, there are no easy ways out of this, okay? No easy ways economically, no easy ways socially. The policies that it would take to solve these problems are not going to fly in a I say democratic society, folks. I mean a society where people vote for their leaders. That's what I mean by a democratic society, okay?
You know, one of the things I want to bring up about this TwitchCon thing, though, is that this is also the byproduct of a culture that Twitch has been fermenting on its platform for a long time now, that people have been critical about for a very long time, which is that because of the fact that they really can't compete in the space, mainly because they've alienated one side of the political aisle almost entirely, they've subsidized that through becoming a gateway drug to the OnlyFans avenue. They've created what's basically a simp culture, thought culture economy where female creators are less safe because they've made their platform appeal to guys who want to crank it to them excessively. And, you know, they've encouraged this. Oh, you know, women come stream here and, hey, you know, a bunch of men will just follow you. But here's the thing, ladies, what kind of men are following you? These men are not sane. And then Twitch is not going to protect you from some of these men that are not developmentally, you know, abled. You know, and that's what happened here. And I think that it's, again, when you see that women are saying, oh, well, we don't feel safe at TwitchCon. Well, also look at the way that Twitch has sort of fermented this culture, you know, of men in there like, I can smell ya. You know what? If you've ever seen Silence of the Lambs, you know, I mean, these are the type of people that you see in the chat rooms over on Twitch TV. And these are people who are now coming to these cons, and it's going to get violent, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get crazy. And what does it take for them to do anything? Because, again, that could have ended a lot worse than it did. It was bad enough that it happened, but look at all the other news that we're seeing in the media of women being, you know, shanked or attacked, or you know, or their lives ended in the streets or on the subways or anywhere else. And
Twitch doesn't care. It's getting to that point, folks. In fact, I dare say we're already past the point, right? The point where people have to die before change happens. We're actually past that point. People have already been murdered on America's streets, in America's trains, right? On American planes, okay? And change doesn't happen. We are dealing with something that cannot be solved by traditional means. I mean, one great way of solving social media addiction, and I know this is going to be very unpopular when I say this, but a way to solve social media addiction is through a social media ban. If you think about it, of course, it would be fucking terrible for us content creators, because it's like, oh shit, our entire way of doing things collapses. But an international social media ban, which cannot be circumvented, would put a stop to social media addiction like that. And you'd see people going cold turkey, like on their phones, like just talking to their phone, like, oh, please acknowledge me. Why isn't anyone liking my post? Oh, I can't get on X. I can't get on YouTube. I can't get on Twitch. Because then
you can have a picture of my food and show it to everyone.
I always do tell people about, you know, as far as these phones go, you know, because I'm old, so I can remember when they didn't have smartphones. Smartphones have dumbed down society as a whole. But I also, you know, noticed that the minute we started getting these and instant gratification from these, at least for people who are a little bit less, you know, disconnected from it or are unable to disconnect from it, that's when all of the malignancy began. The trans stuff, the furry stuff, the maniacal stuff. Because what happened is that somebody could have a crazy thought, and they didn't have this to go to. If they wanted to go on the internet, they had to wait 8 hours because they were at work or they were in society. They had to do their things. And then by the time they got home, why did I think that crazy thing? Why did I think that? I'm okay now. But now they go, you know what? I think I should start. I'm a grown man and I'm very hairy and I think I should start wearing dresses. And they post it instantly and get 20 replies of, yes, Queen Slay, you are a true woman. All right. Now, they used to be able to put that away.
This show is brought to you by Nokia, Motorola, and T-Mobile. But no. The only companies that, the companies that did really, really well before smartphones were a thing. But Roger, what do you make of all we've said?
Well, pretty much what I was just wanting to bring up is the whole entire fact is that we actually did have people making it very clear out there to not attend TwitchCon. People like Tectone and Asmongold telling people that you should not be attending it just due to all the recent history that we've seen with previous TwitchCons, all the stuff that has been going around here lately. And lo and behold, people didn't listen to them because what? They're not on the same side as them anymore. They have completely broken off from all the indoctrination BS that has happened over on Twitch for so long.
Exactly.
And if anybody saw like the latest video that Tectone said, he pretty much puts it out there that the only way that this platform is ever truly going to change is if Dan Clancy is no longer in charge of it. And you can obviously tell that this man is not right in his head, considering the fact that he is like an 80-year-old stack of shit who's still pretending like he is in his 20s due to like the video that we saw earlier. It's a midlife crisis. And instead of actually doing anything about it to make the people that are attending it feel more safe, he's out there doing fucking interviews with Taylor Lorenz.
You know how you get rid of Dan Clancy? You remind him that in the real world, nobody knows or gives a shit who he is. He is not relevant to anybody outside of Twitch TV.
Exactly.
If he went up to my mother, my 73-year-old mother, and said, "Hi, I'm Dan Clancy," she would respond with, "Who gives a shit?"
Pretty much all Dan Clancy is truly doing, he is literally being Steve Buscemi in that one show where he's like, "How do you do, fellow kids?"
Yeah, he thinks he's a freaking rock star. He's a nobody.
How do we replace Daniel Clancy? Well, we swap him with the problematic white guy. No one
that'll be a good political and financial move.
And then suddenly Twitch goes to war with YouTube and tries to destroy all the prominent creators on YouTube for no apparent reason.
Oh,
no apparent reason.
But the about the social media ban, that would be the only solution under the current mindset, under the current level of intellect, if I can say myself. Like the real, in my opinion, the long-term solution to which George Carlin would say, but we don't have time for rational solutions, is that we need better educated people. We need better educated children. We need children that would face consequences when they have to, as we did when we were younger. They would know what consequences are, and they would know that they should think things through. That's not gonna happen. So what you said, Digny, about the social media ban and what we were discussing about the social media ban, yeah, that would kind of fix a lot of the things currently on that spectrum. It would allow for a lot of other shady things to happen without people to cover them and bring to attention, because the other side of social media, sadly, is that it allowed us and it gave us so much information, especially during the COVID era, that we wouldn't ever gotten through standard media. Never would have gotten it through.
It's never the idea of a social media ban. It's never really been discussed, is it? If you think about it, all the crazy things that leadership propose, like digital ID, biometric stuff, vaccine passports, 15-minute cities, all these freedom-hating nonsense. But never have you ever seen one leader or one commentator call for a social media ban, or at least social media limitations, to address the crisis of social media.
Do you know why?
Yes.
Because the control. the control that it affords them. You see it with people who are just, and I'm not even saying it's an explicitly left-wing thing. It's a right-wing thing too. How many people do you know on the right are so pro-Trump that if you criticize a bad decision Trump makes, they automatically assume that you're a Democrat? Now look at the other side of it and look at if you criticize, Obama or Hillary or any of these people, AOC, any of them. Oh, you're right wing. You're a Nazi. You worship the German painter. It's like they're so like absolute in their mindset, and it is control. It is control. It's not
divide and conquer.
Neither side is going to be willing to throw the ring into the fire at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I'll make this clear though. Someone who does need a social media ban is Hassan Piker, because quite frankly, a social media ban would do so well for his mental health. Maybe he will stop electrocuting dogs. And that is our second topic, folks. Just to make it quite clear, if you haven't already, like the stream, share the stream. I mean, for a content creator to propose a social media ban is like a turkey voting for Christmas, okay, or for Thanksgiving. It's like, why are you proposing this, Digny? Don't you want more people to use social media so you can get more support? Well, if I was a cynical, greasy pole-climbing bastard, then yes. But I want our human welfare to increase.
What's funny, Digny? I want to just add to that. Sometimes with people who watch my streams and stuff, they'll tell me, "Oh, I'm not going to be here such and such day," and all this. I'm like, you don't have to explain yourself. I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't watch every single stream that I do. In fact, I'm happy for you that you have real life plans and you're going to go outside and you're going to enjoy your life, go to your weddings, go to your job. You never have to explain it to me because I'm not your boss. I'm not the boss of you. I appreciate when you come and enjoy my content, but you never have to feel obligated. I never want anyone to feel obligated. I want people to enjoy their lives. And that's
exactly.
The thing.
They should be on your stream to have fun and not to be like, I'm on a job. I need to
absolutely.
Be
so many
exactly.
people
that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing here.
The only way we can take poison out of the discourse, folks, is to draw it out. Sunshine is the best medicine after all. We got to draw out the poison, which means a lot of pushback, right? Pushing the idea of social media limits or a full-on social media ban is going to draw out a lot of ire, it's going to draw out a lot of criticism, and it's going to draw out the poison. And folks, it is far more endemic than most people want to realize, regardless of whether you're woke or anti-woke or don't know what woke is, right? You look at Hassan Piker, I doubt there's a genuine brain in his body. Now, I was going to say bone, but I'm like, does that guy have any bones? The point is, right, the consequences of this social media addiction crisis are that we are at a point that prominent creators can abuse animals and not only get away with it, but actually continue operating and gaining support, right? I know Hassan crashed out on his loyal viewership, as if he has any of that, but the man's feeling the pressure because this controversy won't go away, because for all of what modern technology has done to muddle people's brains, we still have fucking red lines. And if you cross the red lines that everyone knows about, right? You cross that red line, you are doomed. And the guy continues to this day to abuse his animal. You want the pressure to subside, take the collar off, let your dog just be a dog, okay? Not even Sink Uyghur, who advocated for fucking horses, got this level of pushback because he knew when to read the room and realize not many people endorse bestiality in the United States. Just like most people in the US don't endorse torturing dogs. I mean, you can do it in your own time privately, right? There are plenty of people don't, obviously for moral reasons, but there are plenty of people who do sick shit behind the scenes without anyone knowing. Okay? Just read the room enough to realize that abusing your dog by using a shock collar every time it moves is a bit of a problem.
How many hours do you think Shenk has logged on Umamasume?
Oh my goodness.
He wouldn't have enough because they look too human for him.
It's like, no, Jose, in all seriousness, when we think about eating a horse, we think of Roger eating a horse. But when we think of Sink Uyghur eating a horse, he is like under the horse, eating it. Eating the
getting
raw
it in a mood.
What?
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
Tim Walsh has videotapes of that, I'm sure.
But we need to point
The
this
fact that
out.
there are videotapes of that is worrying enough in general, but yeah.
We need to point out the fact, and it is a fact, an egregious fact, that one of the main reasons why the discourse among what we do is so poisonous is because of people like Hassan Piker, who has never broken an unwritten rule of content creation in his life, but has broken every moral bone in his body. And that's why he hasn't been wiped out. That's why he still has support. And that's why the institution who backs him up are defending him to the hilt, as well as some of his prominent colleagues are defending him to the hilt.
This is the word, like, this is the showcasing of how morally absent a person can be. And he does have a loyal fan base, and he had a lot more loyal people before Kaya's incident. But when you have loyal followers, and in his case, he's talking against Israel, he's pro-Palestine, stuff like that. In this case, you do have a room to wiggle with a good deeds versus bad deeds, and he does have some platform to stand on with what he said against that. You do have bad things that have happened from both sides historically and currently and stuff like that. So he does have a wiggle. When you do that to a dog, there isn't a violent extremist dog state out there. You're basically hurting an innocent animal that is with you for the rest of its life, loyal, loving, no matter what you do to it, almost infinitely. So you don't have that platform that you have people who feel like you for the things that you normally talk about with human groups, because there's only one dog group, and that's good boys, man's best friend, stuff like that. And when you go against that, then yeah, you're pretty much on a very, very fast going. There it is, Jace. There it is. Amazing. Good boy.
Courtesy of Yeet, folks. Hassan crashes out and black pills on everything. Quote, I'm going to quote this because I don't want to listen to this cunt. Quote, I hate the left. I hate liberalism. My life. I hate streaming. Socialism. You did it. I am black pilled. Nothing will ever get better. It's because of you I shock my dog.
Okay.
Wait until he says that.
Let me see how small a violin I can find.
Wait until he blames his audience for abusing his animal.
Here's the thing about this. Poor baby Hassan. Hassan could easily fix his life by this, as you said, he could benefit from a social media ban. And I'll tell you why. Because he is a product of the algorithm, the consumption, the believing that his shit doesn't stink. Hassan does not have a bad life. In fact, the capitalist society, not the socialist society, the capitalist society you're living in has allowed you to become a millionaire through, exploiting a lot of people who are unwell and kind of stupid. All right. You mistreated your dog. It's very simple, Hassan. You don't have to be black pilled. What you have to do is turn your computer off, go outside, take Kaya for a walk without a shock collar, just a normal collar, take her out on a walk, take her to a park, play frisbee with her, Stop and smell roses. Realize you got the, your multiple cars, your infinity pool, your mini mansion. Realize life ain't that effing bad. But this guy is such a crybaby, man. This guy is such a pathetic sack, because this isn't the first time he's gone into this pity me mode. Because a couple of years ago, he lost a few thousand viewers because we weren't in a political cycle, and he was sad about that. Oh, but you still got like 10, 20,000 people watching you. What's the matter? Well, it's not enough.
Well, I'll tell you
when
this.
you don't have consequences. That's what happens when you grow up without having real life consequences. What we were talking about. You need to grow up with consequences for your actions from an early stage. I grew up in an environment that was, if for the lack of a better term, way more adult than I was supposed to be in. And if I were to tell someone like a behavioral someone or stuff like that, they would gawk at me. How did you survive? Because I was raised to have consequences. I knew what consequences are from an early age. I knew what had to be done. I knew that if I am a idiot, I would get idiot prices. That's what's happening.
You know what it's also? It's character development, because we've had problems in our lives that we've overcome. And Hassan has never had a real problem in his life. It's like, get some real problems, all right? You've created this problem. You opted to create this problem by mistreating your dog. And now those chickens have come home to roost. And you haven't corrected it. Instead, you've retreated in your shell. Oh, poor me. Poor me.
Well, guys, before I make my point about this, it's so ironic, folks, because the overarching theme of this episode is condemning the poisonous nature of content creation and live streaming. I wasn't expecting many people to actually watch today's episode, because usually shitting on the profession you're in isn't a good idea, okay? But apparently it's wrong. Thank you to Roadkill for the nearly $20 donation, in which you say, I can't eat cats and dogs, I guess I'll help feed them. Frowny face. Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Roadkill,
for your donation.
And I've explained this on my Sunday stream. Something like this is an amount in Bulgaria will get me at least 10 pounds of food. Like of dry cat or dog food. And you can, if you don't know, in terms of grams, a normal cat eats between 60 and 80 grams of cat food per day. So that's gonna be helping a lot. And all of this goes to two things: channel growth, because I do want to do this fucking thing full time until I boot it off in a miserable way, and I want to help homeless animals, because there's a lot. And I don't want people like Hassan to adopt them or have them. That's a new goal, but it is a valid goal, because a lot of times, sadly, homeless animals end up in incredibly worse situations with incredibly abusive people, and sometimes even people who actually kind of take care of different animals that need stray animals to survive. And you can do with that information whatever you like.
Well, I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to Hassan, the point Jose was making, I think Hassan would be morally better off in a socialist country, right? Born and bred. No, seriously, born and bred in a socialist country, right? I know our side loves to shit on the left, and I don't blame them, because most of them are monsters, okay? But think of it this way. In a socialist state, we wouldn't have to deal with a social media addiction crisis. In a socialist state, we wouldn't have to deal with obesity. In a socialist state, we wouldn't have to deal with more and more radicalized people. In a socialist state, we'd have proper borders, right? If you're certainly not allowed to leave, I don't think you're allowed to come in. So if you think about that, folks, right? What's the Soviet solution to the refugee crisis? They come to the border, shoot them, and you, because Helzo can know this, because his parents grew up in, a socialist state commanded by a communist state. Let's face it. And the mindset was, if you try to leave, you're going to die. So what are they going to do to people who want to come in illegally? Think about that, folks. I know we love to shit on socialism, because yes, it is a backwards ideology that does ruin a lot of people's lives. But I do honestly believe that someone like Hassan would have been a morally better person if he was born and bred in a socialist country.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Jeremiah Norris. Could you bring that up, Helzer? Thank you to Jeremiah Norris for
Thank
a
you,
$2
legend.
donate. See, look, there's the greater irony, folks. I'm talking about why some parts of socialism are good, but then I'm like, thank you for your donation. so, folks, I'm not saying socialism's a good ideology, by the way. I'm simply saying for people like Hassan, it would be better for him morally, not economically.
The problem with that is the fact that just like how you have like every other lunatic leftist deranged person out there who have been spoon-fed pretty much their whole entire life about socialism being good and whatnot, they don't even know what actual socialism is. Like, because you got Hassan out there talking about how good all that stuff is, talking about how bad capitalism is bad, while he thrives on capitalism. That's the only way he has everything that he has is through capitalism. And yet he's trying to make it seem like, oh, socialism is this great thing. Well, you don't even know what in the world that even is.
Well, I'll tell you this, folks. Jeremiah does make a good point in his donation. We all have worse outcomes than Hassan Piker. And I'll tell you this right here, right now, folks. The reason why the Cold War was this battle for survival between the East and West, between capitalism and communism, because for the longest time, especially from in the 60s and 70s, right, the West was getting richer, but the East was far more stable, okay? So it was much more stabilized, organized society, okay? Except for China. They were busy just murdering each other during that period. But let's ignore the yellows for a moment and concentrate mostly on the Soviet Union Eastern Bloc. While America was burning because of fucking protests, against segregation and the Vietnam War and all the bloody economic problems, Watergate, the East was seen as this hub of stability and continuity and eventually stagnation, right? The West today, economically, we've been stagnant for about, I'd say, just under 20 years, but we are completely unstable. This is not a stable society. Everything is in a constant state of flux, which allows poisonous people like Hassan Piker to take the lead. That shit wouldn't fly in a socialist society, right? They don't like abusing animals. In fact, you wouldn't even have an animal. You couldn't afford to own a fucking dog. But thank you to Furious Dan for a $2 donation in which you say the following. That's why Hassan got the fist of shame twice. I don't want to know where that fist has been.
Well, no, Hassan calls it the fist of joy as long as you're aiming it to his backside.
Yep.
Oh, damn.
With his entrance.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about him not being able to get a dog. Yeah, he couldn't even afford it. He wouldn't even be able to have time to shock it because they'd be too busy making him farm in the potato fields in order to shock a dog.
You know what sums up Hassan's socialism in a nutshell is this image by his daddy, Amazon.com, which also owns Twitch. Das Kapital on sale for $25.97.
And it's on a discount.
yeah. List price
Communism is on a discount. Get it now while it's hot.
You know the biggest irony to all of
You
this
for one.
is that communism was a solution to a problem capitalism destroyed, and that was feudalism and imperialism. That's the greatest irony. It was a solution to a problem that had already been dealt with, folks. And thank you, Dan, for your donation. Thank you all for your donations. We appreciate them very, very much. And when I think of content creation, I think of command and control, right? Because the guy who hosts the channel, the gal who hosts the channel, commands and controls that channel, okay? In a very similar way to that of a dictatorship, which is very similar to how a socialist society is run. The state tells you what to do, where to go, what rights you have, and controls all the industry and all the agriculture in a very similar way to a content creator saying, these are the videos I'm going to make. This is the show I'm going to make. This is the structure we're going to have, right? It's easy to be a dictator and have a structured society with a small amount of people. But the bigger it gets, the far more likely it fails, okay? So take a place like Iceland, right? 300,000 people. Almost everyone lives in the same place, for the most part. That's probably the country, of all the countries in Europe, that could probably succeed the most as a socialist country. But a country like Russia, with like, what, 100, 150 million people? No fucking way is that going to work. It's far too big. Everyone lives in too many far distant places. And organizing a country that big is an administrative nightmare. Same for the United States, and especially for China. It's like, what the fuck is going on? There's like 1 billion people here. Stop breeding! Oh, wait, you have.
There is
It'll
also
work
one thing
out.
that I would like to add is that
Sure.
such dictatorship or such a power structure only works when you don't live in the age of plenty. Because the only thing that the only way that such regimes succeed is when you don't have that much resources, that much reach, that much connectivity, when you're more closed off as things were used to be way back. And call it socialism, call it communism, call it a kingdom, call it whatever. The power structure was very different from what we have today in most countries, especially in the Western countries, even in some of Eastern Europe's countries. The thing is that freedom of speech was not something that was popular or was treated as accepted, because more people had a singular purpose. You had this group of people that they live in this part of your kingdom or your country, that they're going to do the farming. You had the higher people that are going to do the security. You have more higher, more. You have the people who were there early, who had all the land and managed to become, let's say, nobles and stuff like that. So these power structures are very layered, but there are structures. There were structures. The only thing that prevented that is that ruined that is the outreach, first of intellectual advancement, the advancement of culture, the connectivity with other nations that did it differently, and the melding of all the civilizations that kind of started to change the structures. Same thing that happened here after 1989. We were fed American and Western views long before the Iron Curtain went down. But the Iron Curtain party went down because people were seeing what was happening and how much better, how much freedom they didn't have. And if you go and look, I'm just have you one example. Go and look in 1991, Metallica, along with some other bands, went and played in front of 1.5 and more people in Russia. And you see how absolutely stunned the people there are, because they haven't heard something like that before. They don't know what to do. But by the third song by Metallica, they're like, all of them are absolutely raging their freedom. They are energy bursting. They're fucking, yeah, we fucking love this. People, military people in helicopters are going down to beat them because they're getting too rowdy and they failed to succeed. You see all that.
Yeah.
That's what freedom, that's what the feeling of freedom to express yourself, to be yourself, to have that energy going out is. And that's what happens when you live in the age of plenty that actually we do live in right now.
You know what's funny, Helza, when you mention that too, is how many people in the free world take that for granted. Like Metallica doesn't come over that way often, but they're touring the entire United States how often, and people take even just that basic freedom for granted.
Yep.
Exactly. Just, going to a concert and raging out, and they don't understand it. And a lot of them won't watch the reaction in other countries where they have less freedom to see the way they react to these concerts, to understand just how free we are in the Western world. They take it for granted every single day.
Well, too much freedom in itself is poisonous, folks. I mean, what Helzo was pointing out
Mhm.
was with the whole development of society, you could argue that Hassan is a spoilt brat at best, or at worst, this overprivileged noble, right, who wants this champagne socialism on steroids. And this is the thing we need to understand clearly, right, is that we need, ideally, the best bits of multiple ideas
Mhm.
to coalesce together to have the advantages of, say, the Western world with the advantages of the Eastern world, right? And the biggest advantages of the Eastern world, and I'm talking about this traditionally, is the dominance of wisdom over knowledge, especially in the ancient Eastern world. That's why we wouldn't have the social media crisis. We wouldn't have the obesity crisis. We probably still would have the pollution crisis, but climate change is a debate, folks. See, they won't flag us for that. It's a debate, like all good things. But there are so many problems in our Western world that are caused by an excess of things, not by a lack of things. But the problem is finding balance. And that has always been the difficulty. And that is the ultimate problem. Finding the necessary balance between
because-
an obesity crisis and a famine.
Because the more you get of the good thing, and by the good thing I mean in this case, let's say social media, instant gratification, the constant evolution of things that would make your brain go woo, just like sugar drinks and stuff like that, the more lack of control you get, and to regain that control becomes instantly more difficult, especially if you have up until that point lived in a world that hasn't had any. And this is one of the problems. Social media, the advancement of technology in the last 30 years is entirely too quick for for someone to for it to not go without its issues. This has been happening a lot, especially like this was even before Facebook was a thing. And when I don't know if you remember, but when Facebook went online, within months there were people like that were then 40-45 people, parents that said this is a disease, this is an addiction, it should be shut down. Same people currently are using Facebook more than ever because they see that they can actually use it and you can navigate it. I personally do use TikTok, but I navigate through TikTok to find useful things. I weed out because the algorithm works like that. You can navigate all of the slop out of your life if you have the mental, if you have the desire to do that. But it's difficult. It's difficult to do that because you want to have instant gratification. You don't want to search. You want just to see what's out there, and you're getting drowned by the slop more and more and more and more. And then you have only quantity and zero quality.
Well, I think it's about tap turning, folks, because tap turning is where you compare the situation where you turn the tap on with turning the tap off, right? And it's not something too many people talk about, right? You look at Hassan Piker. He's crashing out. He's falling apart. He's going insane. That is an example of the tap turned on so much that the fucking bath is overflowing, right? And there's only one way for that water to go. And that's the same with a lot of problems in our society, right? So we've got to do compare and contrast. And the first thing we got to do is turn the fucking tap off, all right? And pull the plug and let the water go before we turn the tap on. But that requires some sacrifices. If I jack up the taxes on people's food, right, I could end the obesity crisis tomorrow, but we'd have a food crisis the day after. And that's how we solve obesity, with a food crisis. And that's the thing about finding balance, folks. Right? That's the difference between overprivileged noble Hassan Piker crashing out and North Korean style take a shit and use it to fertilize a field. We've got to find a balance between those two things. And that is not easy because Americans especially lead the way. And Americans' first instinct is freedom at all costs. And if you give people too much freedom, you give a drug addict too much heroin and see what happens to their life, to their liberty, and to their pursuit of happiness. And you wonder why the discourse is so poisonous. Giving social media to children is like giving them heroin. And you can quote me on that. You can, because it fucks them up for life.
Yep,
So on that
it does.
note,
And I do want to also go to Roger to see to hear
sure,
what he has to say.
sure.
But we have a demand or a instruction to Jace to check your DMs. Thank you, Furious Dan, for
$2. Go check your DM, Jose. Furious Dan has addicted.
Is it
my
shareable?
God.
Is it shareable? Tell me, is it shareable?
It's the fist of shame to Hassan, so I don't know if it is.
No. No,
I don't think
I've tried telling Dan this before, right? And he even did a fist of shame for a political candidate.
you,
I'm
Dan.
like, Dan, take it from me. You are going to get into trouble for doing this. You are going to get into trouble for doing this one of these days. And that shit's going to be like you, and you're going to be like, oh no, homo, I didn't mean it, loco. And it's like, yeah, tell that to the judge. Because look,
The judge may be a meme guy. Who knows?
The Democrats are going to win eventually, Dan. Okay, I don't think they're going to win for the next 50 years, which is your estimated lifespan. But Roger, what do you make of all this? And then we can go to the final topic.
Pretty much that Hassan just needs an absolute reality check before it gets up to a point where he's already at the point of there's no coming back from literally everything that he's done. Considering the fact that it ain't just Kaya that was the very first dog that we've seen him abuse. It's the fact that we see him do it with other dogs that he's owned in the past, and that stuff has just been coming out onto the surface and everything. So pretty much it doesn't matter what, like, even if he just has the full-blown, after having his full-blown crash out, if he renounces everything that he has been taught up to this point, gives away his money, gives away his cars, his house, and all that stuff, it still won't ever be enough because you've already catered yourself far too over onto one side. You try to go onto the other side, and the other side ain't going to accept you because of what you done to those dogs. So no matter what,
just fade away, man. Fade away.
Just fade away. Don't get on social media anymore. And within a year, people will completely forgot you even exist because you're not worth remembering.
And you still have money. You still have your money. You can live off of that.
Just fade away, man. Everyone has their time to shine. Everyone fades away. And if you want to come back, rebrand yourself as a cartoon. I heard that works. But as for the third and final topic for today's show, 1 hour, 19 minutes dead. This is about, this is a positive topic, folks, on the surface at least. But what it leads to really underscores the poisonous nature of content creation. And good news, everyone. That Park Place collaborates with Geeks and Gamers as the landscape demands alternative alliances. Now, I can tell you this, folks, as a fan of That Park Place, as a source for all things topical news, as well as being a fan of the Geeks and Gamers organization, I think this collaboration is absolutely fantastic and will benefit both organizations. They're both dedicated, they're both professional, and they're both capable groups of people with a talented lineup on both ends. My issue with this is not the organizations joining together. My issue with this is the precedent that it sets. And that's part of the overarching theme of today's show, folks, the institutionalization of content creation, which enables what we do to become poisonous. And it is poisonous. It's the same type of poison that allows the likes of of Hassan Piker to roam free, and he's far from the most egregious example. Okay, Jose can give you the Rumble example of the institutionalized clique where you suck off Chris Pavlovsky in order to be climbing Rumble's greasy pole, right? I am fully in favor of this collaboration with That Park Place and Geeks and Gamers. I think creators and communities do need to join together. My worry is this will set a dangerous precedent that the only way to effectively gain support now is to turn content creation into an exclusive club and an exclusive clique where only certain people with a certain set of skills, with a certain set of views, are allowed to go far doing what we do. Jose, what do you make of what I've just said?
I mean, I do think that on one hand, it's great to see collaboration to a capacity. On the other hand, what you're seeing is a consolidation of what's going to become a power base in content creation. And that's bad for us because, as you've said, the thing is not to gatekeep content creation. Anybody can do this if they apply themselves. And as you know, Helzo has said before, this is something we do for fun. We don't do it. It's great when people help us out and donate and all that, but it's not one of these things where it's like required, expected, demanded. It's something we do. In some cases, it's therapeutic, it's cathartic after dealing with everything you got to deal with out there, to share your mind, speak your view. That's a great deal. But the downside to it, the toxic side to it, is the fact that these things become become cliquish. Like what we see with TwitchCon. Twitch wants to create a whole convention around it. You got girls getting groped and nothing happening. Rumble, I've been on Rumble. I like it as a platform to an extent. What I don't like is when people say it's free speech and then there's suppression, or you can't have free speech and fealty at the same time when you start creating these cliques. There are people who are obviously favored above and beyond over other creators. These people, like you said, you alluded to at the beginning of the stream, creator houses. That's sort of like a thing. Oh, so if you're not invited to the house party, you're not going to go anywhere. So they all gather together. All these people are
guys. Yeah. You know who else had house parties? P fucking Diddy, and that should tell you everything you need to know about why.
I thought you were going to say Epstein with a little white and blue house.
He had island parties.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
And this is the thing
Up
people
on the
need.
island.
And
where
this is
nobody goes.
And this is the thing people need to understand. I'm not against creator collaborations, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not against bringing content creators together. I'm against what I call the institutionalization of content creation. And it just goes to show I'm not a professional, because I actually pointed at Helzo, but I said Jose instead of Helzo. And I'm like, let's get panel perspectives now. But this is the thing we need to consider, because another thing that has recently happened is the side-scrollers collaboration with the Rumble platform. The creation of a side-scrollers content house, as well as the creation of a fundathon, as it were, raising about $50,000. I think that was the target goal for the side-scrollers Rumble collaboration. And it just goes to show, if this is where we're heading, I don't think it's going to end well for what we do as a whole. I think best case scenario, it's going to help prominent creators come together in more ways than one, and really build and develop upon what they've already done. But for the discourse as a whole, there's no way you're going to bring in new generations of creators using that cliquish model. It's just going to be the same people with the same talking points, talking about the same topics all the damn time, and you will never get the fresh air needed. You won't get the Furious Dans of the world. You won't get the roadkills of the world. You won't get even the Liliths of the world. Half the people I know don't even think Lilith's a woman, but people need to understand this. If it's just the same people with the same views, talking about the same topics, we know how this is going to end. This is going to end with the annihilation of content creation, whether you like it or not.
It goes back to the uniformity of the old days. That was when there were 3 TV stations. They all basically said and did the exact same thing. It'll lead to uniformity of thought, which, in and of itself is a bit of a problem. It doesn't, again, we go back to that illusion of the ring. It's not about, it's not about throwing the ring in the fire. It's about who controls the ring. And that's what's going to happen. Now we're creating another institution that's just going to be all of these opinions. And then the other institution is all these opinions. And if you're anywhere in between, or you don't toe that line, or like, as you like to say, you don't climb the greasy pole, guess what? Your ass out.
Now, folks, I can't disclose my sources here, unfortunately, because I can't legally be myself on this platform. But I had a taste of the top, and I can tell you right here, right now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows behind the scenes, okay? Because this is not just a serious business. This isn't just about fortune. It's about fame, it's about recognition, and it's about ambition above all else, right? You look at the side scrollers. Of course they want to develop. Of course they want to improve. Of course they want to bring in new audiences and expand their operations. So much so that they are willing to collaborate with a platform that has a history of being a clique. That has a history of not just saying, but also doing, because actions speak louder than words, folks. They have a history of essentially rewarding creators who actively support them on their platform and actively suppressing creators who condemn them on their platform. We have a case in point example here. Cancel This Podcast grows on Rumble despite Rumble, not because of it. My mentor started making video clips from Cancel This Podcast. Viewership-wise, they've been fine, but my mentor has gained a grand total of -1 followers. Okay? Rumble is not a purpose-built platform for content creation. It is purpose-built for established audiences, and it is purpose-built for creators who will join the creator program, suck off Rumble with the ad reads, make it plain Jane with the ad reads, and take the missionary position to climb the greasy pole.
Look, Rumble is basically to YouTube. It's like WWF and WCW. And maybe that's giving too much credit. I might say TNA Wrestling.
No, AEW.
Oh God, even worse. Even worse.
Indeed.
I'm gonna make a John is. I'm gonna make a John is all elite graphic.
I'll tell you this, guys. Right. 2019 AEW. If they had kept up 2019 AEW, I don't think the WWE would exist today. That's all I'm saying. Right. Those first few months, from October to December of 2019, were fantastic. But Helzo, why don't you give your thoughts on this situation while I share my screen and bring up an example?
I think that things can go in a multiple ways. So I'm going to bring up a very recent thing that happened when Trump was elected and when the woke basically crashed. And you remember how before that you have a collective force, if I should say it like that, against woke extremism. You had another website besides that Marketplace that provided a lot of good articles for content creators like me. When the enemy was vanquished and the dragon was slain and stuff like that, as you, Jay, said earlier, they tried to seize the reins. They try to, okay, this is our stuff now. We're going to do it this way. We're going to do this way. No diversion from this way is going to be accepted, and basically became the extreme woke right. Is what I love to say. So what is happening with that Marketplace in the side scrolls is Geeks Again. Sorry, it's basically you can see it. Like it might be institutionalized in the future and might happen something like that, and it might be what you are saying. However, it might also be if you have sensible people, and I do believe that there are enough sensible people that are going to be running this. They might actually promote all around openness. Do the things
yeah.
different. We don't know. I know the risks are very, very high, and
Well,
it
there
runs
are
very deep.
Well, there are plenty of ways this could go, Helza, right? I'm looking
Yeah.
at this from the worst case scenario because let's face it, almost every content house that has been founded has ended badly, with very, very few exceptions. But, folks, we're not looking at this just as outsiders looking in. So, this whole envy argument, this whole jealousy argument that some creators point out, it's like, oh, you only oppose cliques because you're not part of the clique. I'm like, guys, right here, right now, I'm a fucking cartoon. Okay?
Yep.
If I was interested in fame and fortune, I'd say the right things. Right? I do First of all, I wouldn't be, a rabbi looking cartoon with two hats. I would get a voice modulator and be a nice, sexy female VTuber who shakes my tits and goes, ooh, ooh, and all that stuff.
I don't
Thank you
think
for the
any of us
mental
are
image.
hating on side scrollers as a content
No.
creator. We're hating on the idea of that the content houses historically are not good. This is not MTV's The Real World, which by the way was a bad concept. The MTV's The Real World was founded on people fighting all the time. All right.
And you look at Smash.
No,
we've had Smash JT on this show, and he is one of the most down to earth creators we have encountered. And I'll make this clear for everyone. If you know the history between side scrollers and Smash JT, right? It was a toss up between Razor Fist and Smash JT, okay, on how they handle controversy. And according to Craig I can never pronounce his fucking name because it sounds like a Tetris puzzle. Craig Schizophrenic, because it's easier to pronounce. And according to Craig, Smash was far more grounded in a crisis than Razor Fist was. Glass cannon says a word a millisecond, that sort of thing. And that's why Smash has positive relations with the side scrollers and Razor Fist kind of doesn't, despite the fact that Smash is in the middle of a legal battle, which I won't elaborate on anymore, for obvious reasons. But does Smash JT even know what a Thundathon is? No.
Let's see.
But he knows it's important, and he knows that we, side scrollers, need your help because they need a lot of finance to get this off the ground, folks. And they are in the middle of it. They've been going for quite a few hours. There he is. There's Craig. Remember Screw Attack, folks?
The thing is about the Funathon that when you're doing something like this, sadly, you need the money.
Oh, yeah.
You need the money. Just like with the Real Game Awards, that they did get a lot of backlash as well. You need a lot of money. And people don't seem to realize that, let's say, if you're comparing, let's say, that Park Place to IGN or even Kotaku, you have independent people versus a organization that is funded from 50 different sides, from companies, from professional backers, not from people like you and me, because the difference between this is that it's ultimately kept up by people like us, and that's my hope for it. Because to be honest, before I returned to YouTube, I was thinking of just going on Wix, making a simple website, and started posting articles and just trying that. It is something like reviews, stuff like that, and doing it, casually. I didn't do it because I would not have had the time, but it's not out of my scope as an ideas. And the thing is that when it comes to, let's say, institutionalizing the content creation, just the same people talking about the same thing, well, we exist. This show exists. The network already exists, and we do stuff differently. So we do exist as well. Whether or not we're going to be as a fraction of the biggest something like this, we will exist, and there's always going to be a place. And if things go the way that we're fearing that they're gonna go, pretty soon, and because that's not gonna be the first time that something like this has potentially go rancid or gone the wrong way, people are going to realize, and they're not going to have it, because ordinary people, ordinary viewers, people of every day that go on our streams, that are people with jobs, they're fucking tired of fakeness. And if fakeness is creeping into something like this, and if it creeps in, and if it's pretend, then they're just gonna abandon it one way or another. This is going to happen. The more times it happens, from the more sources it happens, even from trusted sources, if it happens, people are already already trained on that in their minds, and they're just gonna go, okay, no, I don't want to deal with this bullshit again.
Well, consistency is very important, folks. I'm not going to say here now, don't throw people under the bus, and then in a week's time, or in a month's time, or a year's time, or 100 years' time, throw someone under the bus. I'm not that kind of person, and I never will be. And this is the mindset we need to understand, because there are a lot of ambitious people who are content creators who want to do well, put a lot of time and effort in doing what they do, and are very attracted and allured by the idea of turning content creation into a clique. Because let's face it, folks, and this is part of human nature, that you want to look out for yourself, look out for those who are mutually beneficial for you, and go from there. You don't want to hang on to things or people who can inconvenience you. But by having that mindset, which, you know, it is human nature, whether we want to admit it or not, by having that mindset, you will eventually fall into the trap of, oh, you're a bit too problematic for me. You're a bit too dangerous. Got to throw you away. Got to ease you out. Got to stab you in the back. Throw you under the bus. Nothing personal. It's just business, man. It's just business. And that's the trap people fall into. And that's why I think that what we're doing with the network, folks, we're far more versatile and far more adaptable. And we are all collectively of the mindset of to each their own in how each network show operates. But there have got to be some red lines. And a red line is you don't throw people under the fucking bus, no matter how dangerous they could be. On a political level, on a social level, on a content creation level, or even on a personal level. I don't care if you're fucking furry. I gave one of them a show. Okay, I don't care if you're a degenerate. I don't even care if you're trans. Right? As long as you don't want trans kids.
Why all three examples were you just singling out Dash?
No, it's just, you know, Dash is the punching bag for the network hosts. If I teased, say, for example, Helzo or Noise or the 40K Empress the way I teased Dash, I wouldn't have fucking 4 network shows. I'd probably have 1. Okay? So
just to tell you, with me,
okay, I'd have 2. But in all seriousness, folks, you've got to be able to effectively read people. And the best way to read people, since we are talking about creator collaborations and the dangers of content creator cliques, the best way to read someone is to poke and prod them. Not in that way, not physically, but mentally. And those who pass the test can be relied upon, and those who don't pass the test, in all honesty, can't be relied upon. If you want to really boil it down. Go on, Jose.
When I hear the term creator house, I can't help but think about that there's a bunch of OnlyFans thoughts that bought like a house to create their content. And that's the first thing I think of is automatically, if you buy like a house for this, you're like content whoring. It's no longer
because that's what you're used to seeing. Because that's what you're used to seeing. People living in the content houses and just that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just feel like
my mind removed that from my memories.
Well, it's good to see this female gamer creator in the chat. I hope you're doing well, my good man. I will keep saying clique because it sounds like I'm saying clit with a hard L. So it's good to see Hypnotic. I've heard a lot of great things about Hypnotic. He is a prominent creator, but no, he's not a bad person. He's far too independent to be a bad person, right? And as I said before, there are exceptions to the rule, right? There aren't many, but there are. And do you know what the exceptions to the rule are, folks? Just to let you guys in on a little secret. The exceptions to the rule are people I like.
Hypno's
right. Oh no! Digny is exposed as a hypocrite. Oh no!
Hypno's right. It does sound like you're saying that other word.
Oh. Okay. Cleat.
And now it's inside your mind.
Oh, damn.
Oh, Digby's clitoris is inside your mind.
Good lord.
There's some good lore for you guys.
That's
Oh,
why I
Start
snapped
drawing the
off
comics.
my. That's why I snapped off my nose so I could really tickle the cleat. Goodness me!
And
But
welcome
it
to the
is-
midnight show, everybody.
But it is
18
great to
plus
see
all
every.
around.
The thing about discussing this though is that not many people would probably talk about a topic as opaque as this, because I know the side scrollers are doing their their fun. I keep wanting to say subathon, their fundathon, right? And it's clear, and I'm going to be the one to say it, right? Because I ain't got nothing to lose by saying this. It's clear that Rumble are pushing them to the moon. They're recommending people to that event. They're trying to get as many eyes as possible on that to make this succeed, to try and attract other creators. There's no way their viewership is that organic. Okay? In views, in likes, and in donations, folks. And we are now dancing on a red line because we are accusing a platform of colluding.
Oh, it wouldn't be
with
the first time that I've been on a red
Versatility.
line with Rumble, so I'm not too worried about it. But I mean,
No.
my take on it is that just to add to it is yes, Rumble will sort of pick and choose who they like and who they don't. Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, the quartering side scrollers, all in the good graces of Rumble. All right. And they're gonna get pushed to the moon. Dr. Disrespect, good graces of Rumble, gonna get pushed to the moon. All right. Everybody else, good luck, I guess.
Well,
Exactly.
Look, if we have to be honest, if we have to be completely honest, from a company success perspective, you are going to push the one who would immediately get you the most revenue.
This is true.
Which is basically one of the reasons Hassan is still up.
Yeah. Well,
Because
I mean,
like the amount of money that he makes for Twitch is enormous.
But to answer that, Hulza, the flip side of that is that Rumble tries to present itself as, oh, you can't create on YouTube, you're a new creator, come over to Rumble and create your empire. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they
you
will.
can't do that because they're picking and choosing who's allowed to create an empire.
Exactly.
They'll pick a few established people from YouTube, all right, a few established people, and they'll use that to sort of reel people in. And then you get there, and like Maverick, who's in the chat right now, have fun being at 115 followers for like 8 months because we want to push something else over you in the gaming section. You'll be on page 8. But Joe Smo, who you've never heard of,
and
on
that's
Rumble,
how you get corporate, because that's the way the corporate world works. That's
Exactly.
basically no different than just being in a company, in working in a company.
Exactly.
Well, the best thing about YouTube, folks, right? Because a great way to ingratiate yourself with YouTube is to bash Rumble and to praise YouTube. So a great thing about YouTube is, I know this show is being officially hosted by a creator with over 2,700 subs, right? But the guy who helped set it up, who he's collaborating it with, has less than 180 subs. So, check out my channel. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But it's incredible that creators with dozens of subs, hundreds of subs, thousands of subs, tens of thousands of subs, and hundreds of thousands of subs are in this chat listening to this show, whether they're active viewers or whether they are active in terms of the chat or whether they're passive in lurking, right? That is the great thing about YouTube. You really have no idea who's watching, but that gives a lot of hope to a lot of up and coming creators. And you may be wondering, well, why is 100,000 plus subscribed creator watching a channel with one up and coming host and 3 content creators no one's ever heard of? Wouldn't you like to know the answer to that question? I'm not telling you, but wink, wink, in that
Just
respect. Okay? You're not getting me in any creator house. I don't want to be in the Big Brother house, okay? You don't want to see me shower. You really don't lift up the folds. I'd probably use that cat as like a soap bar. It's like just rub the cat with soap and then use the cat to rub. Okay,
Well,
No, Digny says
no,
that,
be-
but he'll
you
come
would
to
be-
my house because he likes my 73-year-old mom.
she does look quite nice from the
in the showers.
that too.
Come together.
Okay. No, I don't want to be in a creator house. I have no idea what this female gamer creator is saying in the chat because I've never, I've never drank soda, and all of my thumbnails were made by me. That's that's probably crossing a red line, but fuck it. One we've blown up one community, we can blow up another and recover. But Roger, speaking of
How
blowing things
progressive
up,
of us.
I know. Roger, why don't you give us your thoughts on the collaborations and creator communities working with platforms, and what do you would you live with us? I know that sounds super gay when I say that, but would you-
Save the dating stuff for another show, please.
no, let me put it this way.
I don't
Have
want
you
to
ever
discuss things. Come on.
Okay, Roger, have you ever watched Saturday Night Hypnosis?
Oh yeah,
Have Okay,
I watched it.
think
I
of that-
remember
think of that-
watching it beforehand,
Think-
back before
well-
they reached 100 episodes.
Well, think about the panel, like the normal panel, right?
Yeah.
Imagine them all living together,
Oh, good Lord, no.
especially with Cassie being the only woman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that'd be an absolute mess.
Boy.
But the whole entire thing with the collaboration thing, yeah, I think it is a good idea. Basically, you are willing to just work with people that are willing to work with you, because like I've mentioned this before on the old show that I used to run. I would try to get people on there that would have like different views and everything, so that we can try to have like a wider range of discussion and everything over the topics that we would have. The problem is though is that there are just some people that will just straight up refuse to work with you because you think differently than them. So the only way that you can actually work with people is like the whole entire thing is like if they have like not necessarily the same views as you, but aren't actively against you for having different views.
Well, yeah, you have to belong
there
to the
is a-
clique, Roger, and that's sort of the
Yeah.
sort of the pitfall here. Is it would be like example, we have this show that we're a part of, and there's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday network shows, and it'd be like if someone that was a different content creator asked us to be on the show, and we said, well, I have to clear it with the network because we're an insulated society, and I don't want to be a part of your show unless it's within our parameters. It would be like if Digny said, okay, you guys can't show up on anybody else's show. That type of thing. Those type of things start happening behind the scenes, and suddenly you have a big mess on your hands.
Do you know what I would do under that scenario, Jose? I'd be like, go on that show. We'll be like the Borg. We'll just assimilate everything we touch. It's like you will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Exactly.
We
But,
are the network.
it's unlikely
Because I
because
couldn't
it's
think of
like
a better name.
tribal warfare, and that's what you want to kind of avoid in that, because you want to believe that we're all on an equal, cool enough footing within the same sort of cultural mindset that we can all just be cool with each other. And as Helzo and I were discussing at the beginning of the show, I'm cool with whoever's cool with me. That's basically it. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. If you don't like me, good. Best of luck on your future endeavors, that kind of thing. But the way that works is, again, once you start getting sort of these cliquish kind of things, it's like, oh well, I got to thumb my nose up at you because you're not part of our respective clique kind of thing, and that's sort of the pitfall that has to be avoided here.
Well, and that's
Exactly.
and that's the other thing is like going back to like side scrollers and everything, because you gotta remember like a year ago they used to regularly have people like Razor Fist and Melanie Mac and whatnot on the shows, and I think the whole entire thing with the Razor Fist is that he purposely stepped away due to all the stuff that was currently going on with him and stuff that resurfaced with him and everything. And basically the whole entire thing with Melanie Mac is that she just went so completely insane over the first Descendant game and everything with the whole Goonergate
Saying
nonsense.
one word doesn't make you a content creator.
Yeah,
I don't care
there's
how
that.
pretty and prominent you are. Saying one word, it'd be so ironic if I were defined by one thing I said, wink, wink. But saying
Exactly.
one word doesn't make you a content creator.
Look, I was
But-
saying that one word while she was still married to one. All right, that's why I'm on Rumble and not here, because I can get away with it there.
Wow.
You know, one of the best things, in all seriousness, one of the most important things, this also applies to the network, by the way, is anyone who is reasonable enough, because that is something that is currently, if you think about it, that is a vein that is like is rich, but it's not being mined now because everybody's out for the drama, for the controversy, for edginess, and everybody's closing off one way or another because they don't want that certain amount of drama, and everybody's on one side or the other side, and everybody's on the cliff and shouting, and nobody's sensible. Like there are sensible people but they're not enough sensible people. So the thing is in my opinion, is to promote sensibility, even if you have different opinions, even if you have more extreme vision, as long as you can come, let's say, on this panel or on another panel, have them discussed in a proper manner and not just go and foam at the mouth, because we have seen that happen too many times. I think that we can avoid, and I think the collaboration between Side Scrolls and that Park Place can also avoid something like this. And when you're being open to
Geeks
that,
and
I
gamers.
think, yes,
And that Park Place.
yeah, I'm back with names. Dignified colonial gentleman.
Oi,
Yeah,
I am the British Empire of content creation. But in all seriousness, folks, just to make it clear, I disagree with Helzo. I'm going to bend the knee to the quartering. I'm going to get Melanie Mac back on his show. We're going to have John De La Rose on his show. We're going to have John F. Trent on his show. We're going to have Razor Fist on his show. It's going to be a Saturday show, and it's going to be called Welcome to the Saturday Night Sellouts. Okay, folks?
And you
We
can
want
all
to ban
dress like
porn, we
Mormons,
want
like
to
the
ban-
Right to Censor used to in WWE.
I'm gonna I'm
wanna
gonna
ban-
be a guest star with the pink hair.
We're gonna ban masturbation. It's gonna be called Saturday Night Sellouts, and we're all going to shill the Quartering's blood coffee. Okay, folks? Made out of Melanie Mac's period products.
Oh, good lord.
You know,
So-
fun fact: they used to think that they could treat people who were
That is someone's fetish,
masturbatory
by the way.
with shock collars, with electrocution.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe Hassan Piker
Shock
can help you
collar
out there.
Sundays. 2 for 1.
This show was only supposed to be 90 minutes long, folks. I hate to cut it short, but our official host needs to go to bed. But 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 50 seconds. I honestly think Saturday Night Sellouts would do very well, because that would be one hell of a regular panel. Okay.
I think it's going to be one hell, but
God damn. But oh, well, let's start off with future plans. Let's start off with Roger. What are your future plans?
Well, tonight I'll be doing another one of my games over on the Rustic Rollers channel. I won't be DMing, sadly, even though out of our group I'm the better DM. Shout out to my buddy who is running the game tonight. He knows it. I know it. But other than that, it's just trying to get throughout another week of people being unappreciative that I'm taking time out of my day to deliver pizzas to you because you're a lazy fat ass and you can't be bothered to give me at least $5 for a tip.
Stop talking about yourself.
I know.
Okay, Roger, just be like, if you don't tip me for the pizza, I'm eating the pizza.
Oh, if I could do that, I totally would.
I think
But then I get fired.
Wasn't that the case before? Like in the before times, someone doesn't tip you or pay you, you can refuse to give them the pizza.
Not when you actually
I don't-
work for the company.
Right.
Like I deliver directly with Pizza Hut. If it was like DoorDash or Grubhub and they don't tip you, you can straight refuse to take the delivery. But I can't
Right.
because I literally work for the company.
Well, I'll tell you this, folks. I don't know what's giving out first, my overheating computer or my fucking leg. But let's go to Jose. Future plans for Jose.
Well, I'm Jace with Cancel This Podcast. We are on Rumble. We're almost too raunchy for Rumble, just like we are too crude for YouTube. Gonna be gaming tonight. Don't know what time this evening I will be gaming because I've got to run after here, get some food, and also take care of some things for one of my multiple day jobs. Because I'm Hispanic, I have multiple freaking day jobs. Yeah. Not just one, multiple. Which is probably why I'm always running ragged. So I'll be gaming probably with a little Octopath Traveler 2, a little Dragon Quest X, the forbidden game that was never released here in the United States. And who knows what else I'll get into, Triangle Strategy, maybe more. I tend to play RPGs on the channel throughout the week when we're not doing our shows. Thursday nights, 11:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my co-host John, who is on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on rumble.com/cancel this podcast. Again, we grow not because of Rumble, but in spite of Rumble. We are not on anybody's Christmas card list over on that. Oh, excuse me, Hanukkah list. Hanukkah card list on that platform. But, until next time, y'all be blessed and be based.
Thank you very much. As for my future
Happy
plans,
Yom Kippur, folks.
too early.
That's actually too late. It happened a few weeks ago.
Depends on
I
be a forward
know
thinker.
a lot about Jewish holidays, but go ahead, Helza.
I'm sure. Future plans. My future plans: videos, streams, and just doing all around greatness. We are very well on point for next month, by the way, for a proper donation stream for the kitties and dogs. That's actually good. That's thanks to you guys, thanks to the community, thanks to every super chat, every membership. Thank you very much for that. We'll be doing a proper stream finally after several months. Other than that, Silk Song is on the way, and 6th of November is when I stop playing Silk Song and dive back into Siberia, the remaster, because I've been waiting for that remaster for a fucking decade. So that's me. And yeah, over to you, Digny.
Oh, don't worry, folks. My fan is at maximum, blowing maximum cool air into my computer, despite the fact that it's 52 Fahrenheit. I'm never using this computer in the summer because it'll probably blow up. But as for me, ladies and gentlemen, you can check me out over at the Dignified Cartoon Gentleman. I explore why things go wrong in entertainment, pop culture, gaming, and content creation. My mentor has started making videos on Rumble again. Capital R, capital R, capital A, 1999. Be great for him to talk to John again this Tuesday, as well as John and Jose this coming Thursday. The Thursday show is quite late for my mentor, but he can get an early night and then be on, which is always good. Thank you all very much for watching, and thank you all very much for your donations as well. And thank you to Roadkill for another nearly $2 donation, saying last word. And the last word is you're not gay. And whoever donates is confirmed to not be gay. So there you go, folks. There you go. I would shake a penny jar, folks, but I don't know where it is, which is very rare for me. I'm like, with all these great people watch our show, I should be getting my penny jar out and going, donations please, and all that stuff. But no, I don't guilt trip enough people anymore. But I'm only a subscriber away from 180 subs, so I'd appreciate all the support. We'd like to get to 500 subscribers by the end of next year, not this year. I'm not that ambitious. I'm not Kader. I'm not going to go from 500 subs one year to 50,000 if he keeps going the way he's going. He's at what? Nearly 30,000? That guy. Whose dick did he have to suck to join Geeks and Gamers? That's what I want to know. All right.
Oh boy.
All right.
It'd be Beardo.
Okay, guys, everything is going well for Cater except his love life. That's the only thing that's not doing well. But he's going to get some pussy. He is. He's a black guy, for goodness sake. Of course he is. But thank you to
Oh,
Furious
boy.
Dan for $2, saying Digny is an undercover Indian. And Dan, that is exactly what an Indian would say. Furious Diwali. Furious Diwali. What do you celebrate Diwali while dancing in a shit pool? Diwali? Dun 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 dun. And thank you to Mr. Nobody for gifting
Good to see
one membership. It is great to see Mr. Nobody. He's
Yeah.
a very talented voice in our community. How much is that? Because it depends on which one he's donated.
5
5. Okay, very good.
or
Of course,
2.5 in your currency.
Oh, good. But folks, we like to tell everyone, or document rather, how many donations we get, so that we can use it as a magnet to get more people on. But thank you all very much
you,
for
Slavery.
watching the 8th episode of Discuss Things Tangent Kings. I think we've done very well, considering this was a regulars rampage.
It was amazing. I had actually a blast, a very
Good.
blast to have us here. It was very, very chill, which I appreciate very much. And also, 8th episodes, we ain't going away, motherfuckers. We're here. We're gonna be here. No matter what happens, we ain't going anywhere. Second
I want to get.
Your cat's trying to go somewhere. He's in the window. He's like, ah.
Oh, he's about to break. He's about to break my blinders again.
It's that
Look at him. Look at
kitter.
him.
It's
Typical
that
black.
Even the black cats cause violence, folks. That bloody kitter. Look, it's damaging a white curtain, folks. Get off the fucking
But that
white
won't be
curtain.
considered a hate crime because the roles aren't reversed.
At least he can't throw a brick at me.
Yet.
Hassan, give me that collar.
Oh, boy. Love it.
The
All right,
Atreus cats,
we're not
ladies
gonna
and
end
gentlemen.
anytime soon, by the way.
Thank you to Furious Dan again for another $2. As I write that down, you bastard. In which Dan says, 20,000 Maharajas for a new boat, brother Raja. You see, Furious blooper. Furious Diwali with a 2 rupee donation, which is practically nothing. But we appreciate everyone for their support. If you haven't already, like the stream, share the stream. Donations are always welcome. Fuck off, you kitter. You kitter.
There is one advantage to being in India. You save a lot of money on toilet paper.
Oh, now
yeah.
the black is teaching.
That's
is
the
how.
student.
Look. The black is now teaching this half caste how to attack the thing. This is why race and culture.
This is the product of a mixed marriage.
Oh, well.
And until next time, ladies and gentlemen.
Cheers.
Bye for
Thank
now.
you very much. Thank you very much. Subscribe to all of this in the description below. And thank you for the donations. Cheers. We'll see you guys again next Monday. And stay fresh.
Take care.
Moo.